It's one of the world's most iconic trophies. Knockout football in November can mean only one thing. It's time for the FA Cup second round.
The towering header from the top scorer.
Slide! Oh! That is magnificent! The goal of the night!
Terrific finish! The shock is on!
Welcome to the Emirates FA Cup preview show. Coming up, non-league minnows Church believe they can do it again after causing the biggest shock of round one.
Still brings a little tear to my eye. I'm obviously really proud of all the players and the staff, and that it's a great achievement for our little club.
Nigel Clough is out to change family fortunes in the FA Cup.
You do everything you can to remember the good ones, but inevitably the disappointments to creep back in.
We'll see how non-league Ebbsfleet have rebuilt after a failed fan-owned project.
There was 32,000 members initially, then that membership number sort of dropped off a cliff at the end, and so the funds weren't as readily available.
And Boreham Wood's Mark Ricketts relives his moment in the FA Cup spotlight.
Seeing the crowd all running over to the fans on the side, just, magic moment, something we'll never forget.
Hold on, my blower's going. Hold on, mate, I'm just about to go into an interview again. All right, I'll speak to you in a bit. Ta-ta.
119 places apart, these two sides. The shock is on.
Oh, fantastic day. Yeah, absolutely superb.
Unforgettable. Surreal.
Shock.
Magical. Unbelievable.
Probably hungover was probably the next one, to be honest. Yeah, we partied quite hard after.
For 7th tier Church, victory over League One Cheltenham Town will live long in the memory.
Still brings a little tear to my eye. I'm obviously really proud of all the players and the staff, and that it's a great achievement for our little club.
Fantastic memories. It's been a bit of a whirlwind the last few weeks. It's been obviously a magical moment for the football club and for us as players.
The past couple of weeks have been quite surreal, really. Winning that, obviously it was against the odds, and I haven't really had emotions like that scoring a goal before. I think just because the crowd was there, the emotions were quite high running then. Just did a big knee slide and saw the crowd, and unfortunately got booked for it, but it was worth it in the end. And then, the second one, I think it was more of just beat the defender and see the balls in the back of the net. It was a relief, and it gave us a 2-goal cushion, so it gave us something to really defend that.
So as a semi-professional outfit, how are the lowest ranked side left coping with the glare of the spotlight?
It's obviously really new to us, but we're muggling through. It's just like a small village. We don't get massive home crowds. I think the average is around about 250, but we're certainly on cloud 9 at the moment.
It's unknown territory, but I think the lads are dealing with it quite well. I think the club are dealing with it quite well, as best as they can do. And obviously we've just got to stay grounded though, because to be perfectly honest with you, it's nice while it lasts, but we're not going to win the FA Cup. So we've got to make sure that we focus on our league.
It is a distraction. Since the Cheltenham game, we've lost both games. We've not performed well, and it's something I've been trying to drum into the players, and that they've got to concentrate on their bread and butter and everything.
It can be quite distracting, but I think the fact that we've done it last game now, it's a bit of experience from them to take it on to this Saturday.
Standing in the way of Church and a place in round 3, League One strugglers, Forest Green Rovers.
I remember playing there for Redditch United against Forest Green and missing 2 sitters, so it don't. We lost 3-1, so it don't hold good memories. Like Cheltenham as well, they're another side that has come from non-league, so it's something we'd love to achieve that, and we've got big aspirations here. We are a little club, but the chairmen and the directors here are really ambitious.
They're a village a bit like Church, and they're definitely a club that's done really well for themselves. It is something to definitely work towards, see them as a bit of a model for our village football club, and something to try and aspire to. But they are definitely a good team, and we're in for a hard afternoon on Saturday.
I think we went into the last game with no fear, and we've got to do the same thing again. We've shown that it's possible to beat a League One team, so there's definitely confidence going into the next game, but we know it's going to be very difficult.
Well, they've got plenty of experience at the top end of the pitch. They've got Jamel Matt and Connor Wickham, who's obviously played higher levels, and they've also got a lad there called Josh March, who played for us for 4 years. He scored goals, he's a proper goal scorer. He's just progressed with us through the levels, to be fair, and carried on progressing as a player as well. So we know him well, we're friends with his family and his mum and dad, and when the draw was made there was a big cheer that, yeah, they're calling it the Josh March Derby now. We'll be enemies on Saturday, but we're really proud of what he's achieved.
If the church can overcome March and his current employers, they'll be hoping their prayers are answered in landing a dream draw with one of the big boys in the third round.
That's life-changing for the club if we could get through and draw one of the big Premier League clubs. That would be life-changing money for the club.
Oh, it's massive, especially with the cost of living crisis. I mean, I think our chairman said that the electricity bills for this place is going to go up 4 times the normal amount. So with regards to any money that we can get for the football club to help it survive or to even help it thrive would be fantastic.
We're 90 minutes away from a potential game away against a Premier League giant like Manchester United, who I follow, Liverpool, Manchester City, something like that.
It's kind of what every non-league footballer dreams of, really, being given that opportunity to play at the best stadiums against the best players.
Well, yeah, I support Liverpool, so to play at Anfield away would be a dream come true. But any of the top Premier League clubs would be massive for obviously myself, the team, and everyone involved at Elf Church.
You've got a dream, and we've also got to focus on the job in hand, really, and we know that we're massive underdogs at Forest Green. We've got to enjoy it. These runs don't come along very often, so yeah, they've got to embrace it, but they've got to also go with the mindset that we can get through. We want to get a result at Forest Green, and we want to make the third round.
Alvechurch are the lowest ranked side in the second round, but there are 7 other non-league clubs in action this weekend. Chippenham Town will meet Burton after Joe Hank's memorable goal against Lincoln ended a 108-year wait for the National League South side.
They are into the second round for the first time in their history.
It's 20 years since Dagenham and Redbridge's best ever cup run. The Daggers made round 4 as a conference side where they were narrowly beaten by Norwich City.
And in the 90th minute, Norwich have won the tie.
National League North Buxton have reached the second round in consecutive seasons for the first time in their history. They'll take on former winners Ipswich Town. Kings Lynn had a former mixed martial arts fighter to thank for reaching the second round. Swiss fighter turned forward Gold or Mateo setting up a tie with Stevenage. And one non-league club is guaranteed a third round berth, as Wrexham of the National League host 6th tier Farnborough.
And Farnborough are on their way to the second round.
You have a constant battle trying to shove the, the bad memories out the way. You do everything you can to remember the good ones, but inevitably the disappointments, they creep back in.
The FA Cup is a competition that means a lot to Mansfield Town boss Nigel Clough.
I think one of the things when you're going into cup competitions is you treat it with the utmost respect. We don't put weekend sides out, as I don't think lower league clubs tend to, because it's too important. For us down at this level and everything, and even non-league when you're starting out in the qualifying rounds, it's hugely important to try and get through a few rounds.
The Stags recorded shock results at Sunderland in their 2 previous FA Cup campaigns under Clough and had the chance to upset another giant when they visit Sheffield Wednesday.
We've got a good record at League One sides in the Cup in the last couple of seasons. Sheffield Wednesday, third in League One. Hardest draw probably we could have got away from home. But you're 90 minutes off getting them back to the One Call Stadium.
In 2006, Clough was involved in a famous cup tie when his non-league Burton side held Manchester United to a goalless draw.
We always tell the story of, and we ask people, you know, in the cell, did you play Manchester United? And yeah, what sort of team did they play at? And we said, well, I remember looking at the scoreboard on 59 minutes. Sir Alex made 2 substitutions, and we asked the quiz question, who did they bring on?
Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo, introduced here by Sir Alex Ferguson.
59 minutes, didn't even wait to the hour mark.
Nigel Clough and Burton Albion are still in the FA Cup.
The pitch wasn't brilliant because we had a lot of problems with it, I remember, a lot of sand on it. But Sir Alex straight away after the game said, no, don't blame the pitch in the slightest. We just moved into a new ground, and I think financially it had gone a little bit over budget, as these things inevitably do. But then getting the replay really set Burton up for the next sort of 10-15 years.
The replay proved a step too far, but the result further enhanced Clough's burgeoning reputation, and he followed in his famous father's footsteps by taking over at Derby in 2009, before 5 years later making more cup history by guiding League One Sheffield United to the semi-finals.
Getting to the FA Cup semi-final with Sheffield United was an incredible achievement. Going to Wembley, and we were actually leading at half-time against the Premier League side Hull.
It's in! The League One side take the lead!
Just fell short in the end. They scored a little bit of a fluky goal just after half-time when we were 2-1 up. And that got them back in the game. But if we could have kept it at 2-1 a little bit longer, you never know. We actually got to a major semi-final the year after in the League Cup, so to get 2 years running with a League One club, we felt was a good achievement. Unfortunately not good enough for the owners, who sacked us not long after that, but wonderful achievement.
That wasn't the first time Clough had experienced Wembley heartbreak.
When you lose an FA Cup final, they say it's the worst feeling it is.
And there it is, Tottenham Hotspur have won the FA Cup, and Brian Clough has failed at his 34th attempt.
People say you'd almost rather lose in the semi-final than you would. You'd enjoy that euphoria of getting there and the excitement and looking forward to it. But the other side of that is the absolute dejection when you do lose at Wembley. It's devastating.
Brian Clough has not moved. Spurs jubilant. And Forest crestfallen.
That was the other thing we all felt as well, I think, that, you know, it was an opportunity for him, his last opportunity to win it.
Are you fated never to win the FA Cup, do you think?
Well, I don't know that until we play them again on Thursday.
And that just, I think, increased the disappointment with the result.
Take care, lads.
Brian, thank you.
That was the closest Brian came to FA Cup success, the one major omission from a glittering career. But the Clough name lives on in FA Cup football, and this weekend Nigel is planning more positive memories.
We never rule ourselves out. I think they'll be aware of our pedigree in the last couple of seasons. It's the sort of game where we're capable of producing a shock, but everything's going to have to be right on the day.
Still to come, we look back at one of last season's most unforgettable moments.
All I could think was don't hit over the bar, don't hit over the bar.
And the specialist subject in our quiz is the FA Cup.
Yeah, you couldn't do general knowledge instead, could you?
You'll get a mixed reaction from many different fans. Some really embraced it, some didn't like it for the way that it interfered with their sort of normal game of football.
15 years ago, Ebbsfleet United tried something different. The website myfootballclub.co.uk gave fans a chance to own and run their club.
Our owners were having a few money issues at the time. They were looking for capital investment in Ebbsfleet, and so my football club sort of was at the right time, at the right place. My name's Ed Miller. In 2007, I was website editor at Ebbsfleet United and content creator for myfootballclub.co.uk. The idea was that fans would run and own the club and all have ownership with it. So there was the pick the team idea, things like that. Fans would have a say in every part of the running of the club, and obviously that was the selling point that it went on. It was just massive worldwide interest for a while, and then we had all these people coming to games from all over the world. So it was a really sort of wild time for a non-league club that had just sort of minded its own business for its entire existence up to that point. We won the FA Trophy at the end of that season. My FC had the influence on it, and there were 5,000 or 6,000 of them at Wembley, along with 30,000 from our club as well. So the initial burst of success was fantastic.
Social media in sport at the time was quite cultish. It was street. It hadn't commercialised yet. It was still indie, which was the coolness about it. Damien Irvine, Chief Executive, Ebbsfleet United. Supporters voting for team selections, voting for transfers and that. In practice, that's just not possible for it to be ongoing. It's very difficult in a privately held company where maybe only 2 people have to make that decision. There's still conflict and there's difficulty. So coupling in a few thousand people to vote on that tends to not work.
There was 32,000 members initially, then that membership number sort of dropped off a cliff at the end and it went down, I think, to 10,000, then 5, and then you were knocking about with 2,000. So the funds weren't as readily available, the money wasn't coming in, and the realities of life in the conference for Ebbsfleet without that backing soon began to bite, and it was literally a case of hand-to-mouth and week-to-week existence for the club. And then it culminated in sort of the summer of 2013 when it really looked like that would be it, close the doors, end of business.
A Kuwaiti consortium then stepped in to put the club in the healthy position it finds itself today.
The current owners of this club came in, and then the bottom line is it's cold hard cash. Cash is what football clubs need to run. They need their losses funded, and that can't be funded on potential models. It has to be funded. This ownership's done that very, very well.
Within sort of, I think, like 2 months, the stands had been painted, there'd been new investment in the team, there was a new manager, and there was a lot of ambition in the club. And it's still, 9 years on, that's still happening. We've got this new stand behind me now that was built for £5 million. There's talk of a new ground being built on this site as well. The sky's the limit as far as the club's concerned for ambition.
That ambition is mirrored on the pitch too, with the club sitting top of the National League South thanks to a left field choice for the 6th tier.
There's no other foreign manager, so it looks like it's quite unusual here. My name is Dennis Kutrip. I'm the manager at Ebbsfleet United Football Club. Damien Irvine sent me a message and said, "Can you imagine?" And then we had a few chats, and it was a very easy answer. It's a very interesting project. I never was interested in non-league football in England, but since then I would say 24/7 I'm pretty much involved. It was a massive challenge for me because we tried to turn everything around. It was just long balls, tried to win second balls, tried to get results without any idea. And we changed it massively from the first day we came through the door here. And you can see we are on a good way, positive, but still so many things to do and much work to do.
Let's go!
Dennis sort of came out of the blue as far as Ebbsfleet fans were concerned. Immediately you could notice that he wanted to play football on the ground, to play it the right way, and it was sort of a different brand of football to the one we'd ever seen.
And a marker as to just how far the club has come is hosting League One Fleetwood for a place in round 3.
As a player and for us as a management team, we always want to prove ourselves, and we always want to have a look how far we can go, so we beat the National League side. Halifax was 1 league above, and now you have to play against a League One side, so can't be any better because there are no better teams in draw at the moment, so it's the biggest challenge we can get.
We're not daunted by the level. We feel we belong there. And that's not arrogant, that's quite measured. I mean, that's been our plan. We're not to say that we're going up or we're going to be there. We just feel we can belong at that level.
You turn up at places, windswept grounds for 20, 30 years, and you might only get a once-in-a-generation sort of FA Cup run. So, yeah, when you appear on TV, it feels like it's your thing as a fan, it's your club, and that's what the FA Cup's all about, and that's why we're all really looking forward to it. I think you look back, and the one thing that you take from it is that the club's still here, and there were so many points just before MyFC came on board and towards the end that the club could have failed, could have gone out of business. And so if you take that as a contribution to the club's history and the fact it's still here, then you would have to say that it was a good thing in the end.
For 150 years, the FA Cup has delivered timeless moments. With every piece of magic, there's a name etched in folklore. From overnight sensations to legends of the game, this is the story of those who've left their mark on this famous competition.
I've never had that big game in the FA Cup. I've got to sort of the first round, second round a couple of times. We've played some good League One clubs, but I think against Boreham, I think that's the first time I played against a Championship club in the FA Cup. Going into the game, obviously we knew it was going to be difficult. We knew they was going to dominate the ball, and we knew we'd be spending the majority of our time defending against obviously quality players like that in a stadium full, especially with the following we had. We had 1,400 fans down there, and they made a lot of noise. First half, it was very comfortable. It was like, we had a good shape with us. They weren't making particularly many runs in behind. They seemed to be worried about, I don't know, almost embarrassing themselves with misplacing passes. Yeah, remember the throw-in. Mendy's sprint to the byline, cut back. He just came at me at a perfect pace.
And Ricketts, and in!
All I could think was, don't hit over the bar, don't hit over the bar.
Mark Ricketts, the captain, has scored for Boreham Wood.
Just a little side foot to keep it down, and somehow it found the corner. It seemed like an eternity waiting for it to roll over the line, and I realised it had actually gone in. I couldn't quite believe it. All I wanted to do was turn and run to the fans. But yeah, what a feeling. Just remember running straight over to my wife and kids. Managed to see him in the crowd, and yeah, just an unbelievable feeling. Now I know what it's like for the strikers. I don't score many goals now. I'm usually a bit further back, breaking up play, and playing a bit safer. Second half was a bit different. They brought a few more players on. They were willing to make those runs in behind. Oh, I remember this was close, wasn't it? Just over the bar.
Billing for Bournemouth, roof of the net.
Another one where you think maybe if they're missing chances like that, maybe this could be our night. I think this is where everyone's legs were starting to go a bit as well. What a save from Tay. And again.
The 37-year-old Mark Ricketts' fuel tank is finally on empty. What a performance from him.
I think this is in the dying moments. This is Solanke's chance, isn't it?
Last throw of the dice. Solanke! Oh, it's so close.
At that point, I felt I'm on the bench, and all I could think is maybe this is our night. What a feeling when that final whistle went.
Fifth tier Boreham Wood have made it through to the 5th round of the Emirates FA Cup.
Seeing the crowd all running over to the fans at the side, just, yeah, a magic moment. Something we'll never forget.
I have nothing but compliments and praise for the Boreham Wood side here today.
Yeah, he was a very, very humble guy. He came into the change room as well after the game, congratulated the lads, and just said he thought we'd done really well, which I thought was a lovely touch.
Number 2.
And number 2, so that is the winner of AFC Bournemouth and Boreham Wood.
We knew it was evident if we won. A massive ask.
And that surely will end Boreham Wood's involvement in the Emirates FA Cup this season.
The thing with the FA Cup, it is that magic. It was a great experience overall. It's kind of what dreams are made of. It's something I'll never forget.
Time now for our FA Cup quiz. How's your football trivia, lads?
Yeah, you couldn't do general knowledge instead, could you?
Afraid not, Nigel. Question 1. Alvechurch are the lowest ranked team in the second round, but who did they beat to reach this stage?
Good question. Who did they beat? 1-0 away.
Was it Lincoln?
Forest Green Rovers.
Cheltenham Town?
Cheltenham Town.
Correct. Danny Waldron's brace was enough for the Southern League Premier side to see off Cheltenham Town in round 1. Question 2. Alvechurch's reward is a trip to Forest Green Rovers, but which striker scored from the halfway line in the Greens' first round win over South Shields?
No.
If you would ask me something about our league, I could tell you, so...
I watched that, but I don't know who it was.
Nah, no idea.
Connor Wickham.
Is it Connor Wickham?
It was indeed the former Sunderland and Crystal Palace man Connor Wickham with a touch of the spectacular in the last round.
Yeah, see, you could have probably said Connor and I still wouldn't have got Wickham.
Next question. Ebbsfleet United are managed by Dennis Kutrib, but who became the first German boss to win the FA Cup last season?
That's a great question.
Thomas Tuchel?
Last season must be Jurgen Klopp.
Jurgen Klopp.
Jurgen Klopp.
Easy one. It was, of course, Liverpool's Jurgen Klopp, who became the first German to lift this trophy back in May.
No, not easy, because I was thinking about Tuchel, but he lost the final.
Question 4. Newport County and Wrexham are the Welsh clubs hoping to make the third round. In which year did a Welsh team last reach the final?
In which year?
Swansea, and that was League Cup.
That would be Cardiff.
But which year?
1979.
06?
2008.
I'll go 2008.
Correct. Cardiff City were the last Welsh side to reach the final back in 2008, losing to Portsmouth. Finally, Sheffield Wednesday are one of 7 former winners in action this weekend. Can you name another?
Accrington Stanley didn't win it, did they, years and years ago?
Derby win it? Derby County?
Portsmouth?
Ipswich Town?
Yes, the former winners taking part this weekend are Barnsley, Charlton, Derby, Ipswich, Portsmouth and Wimbledon. So with a full house, the honours this week go to Alvechurch manager Ian Long.
5 out of 5. I wish I was that good at skills.
The third round is potentially 90 minutes away for the competition's minnows. It's a chance to put their name on the football map. Enjoy the action, and we'll see you in the new year.
What a fantastic finish that is! Goes from Quillim and it's headed in! And the goal stands for Marine! He's done it! What an incredible turnaround this is! Brilliantly done. A third for Lincoln.